Dun, dun, da, da, da.
May the fourth be with you.
You're a monster. That's Spock.
Oh, wait. I'm the. What are we on?
We're on Star Wars.
Phantom Menace.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Movies. The average person can be inspired by them. They can make us laugh. Movies can keep us on the edge of our seat, and so much more. Maddie's Movie Mix is a podcast for movie enthusiasts of all kinds. We hope you enjoy the show.
Wait. Matt Logan!
Yes, we both had the same problem. You.
Listen. You smell something?
Yippee-ki-yay, this is Tyler Peterson. I mean, there's probably some creatures that only have 3 fingers, so that's constantly what they're doing.
Yeah.
Or they're Donatello from the Ninja Turtles.
That could be too.
But definitely not Star
Isn't it
Trek.
weird how people get that confused, though? I mean, obviously, I'm being weird again.
There's nothing I can say that will explain it for you.
Well, I will say this. If you don't know anything about any of the series, Star Trek and Star Wars are just one word difference.
Right.
So
Did the cart come before the horse? How does that work? So Star Wars copied Star Trek?
I don't think they copied. They had different names. You can't copyright the word star. There'd be a lot of movies that wouldn't be able to come out if Star wasn't out.
Yeah.
I think. Although I only know Star Wars and Star Trek.
Star
Star-Lord.
yeah, character.
Yeah.
Are they going to do a spin-off movie? Is that what you're trying to tell us?
For Guardians?
Yeah. Star-Lord one?
No, Guardians would be terrible if it was just one of the characters.
Yeah.
Besides maybe Drax.
You know why I'm sitting over here, right?
I have no clue because you're the good side.
No, because, well, that's true too. I'm always the good side, obviously.
I'm always popping with ideas.
Well, I would just sit there and eat,
Oh, yeah.
so figured that was for later, and I better sit on this side.
That's fair.
Hey, this is a movie that you were just a little whippersnapper when it came out.
I was 5.
Right? So, obviously, I remember when it came out and this huge buzz of the
Phantom Menace.
and the Star Wars, prequel whole
Yeah.
thing. And it was very exciting. Let's just get it right out of the gate. I was let down.
Yeah. Well, as a kid, I loved it.
Sure.
Because
Makes
I had a
sense.
different perspective. Because I didn't mind Jar Jar Binks as a kid. Because, yeah, he was a quirky character, which
Are you
makes
brainless?
sense. Well,
I spake.
Misa thinks. No, Jar Jar,
The
you
ability
do
to
not
speak
think.
does not make you intelligent.
That's right.
however said it.
That's right.
Yeah. Some good lines in the film. I mean, it's entertaining, and I guess
Some weird storylines.
there's some very weird storylines. The whole metachlorian thing, or
Yeah.
metaphysical
Metaphysical.
whatever it was. I don't remember, but. No, the metachlorians and how bringing that into the whole force thing. I mean,
Yeah.
I think the force thing worked without having to do that.
But they were off the scale. You can't say the Force was off the scale.
But it shouldn't have mattered.
No, it really shouldn't have.
And so that was kind of weird, and a few other things.
Well,
but
especially with the progression of really Anakin Skywalker, because they make him to be out this ultimate force wielder, but
yeah.
in none of the films do I ever he's intimidating me because of the suit, but his skills never blew my mind.
We're right, exactly.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, that's the third film, so we won't talk about that. But
Oh, that's such a good one.
that one is pretty good.
Yeah.
That one, I thought that really brought a lot of
Yeah.
things together for sure. I think with that said, though, they could have got rid of this one.
Yeah.
Packed about 20 minutes in the third one.
A good old mini episode.
Right. And
Yeah.
we would have known exactly what we needed to know.
Yeah.
But they drug this out, and I don't know, like you said, when you were 5, when it came out, it was entertaining to
I
you.
remember going to Taco Bell and getting the
Yes.
little cups, or the cups that had the different characters' head, and I
Yeah.
was like, we have to have all of them.
And wasn't that Mountain Dew big? Mountain Dew was a big part of that, or something?
Oh yeah.
With this.
Well, Taco Bell
back
has the
then,
Baja
and-
Blast.
yeah.
So I
which
think
is
that was
about when it rolled out.
right.
I understand.
That was
what I remember.
It was a great ad promotion for Taco Bell
for
to
sure.
roll off of Star Wars. Because I remember getting all those collectibles and things like that, and I was like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
And I remember we went to visit my aunt in Florida. So that was with my brother, me, and my mom. And it must have been a few years after the movie released. But I remember for that trip, my mom gifted me action figures. So I got Darth Maul and I think it was Qui-Gon.
You say gifted as a parent. I understand that's more like bribery.
Yeah.
I'll give you anything you ask.
Well, we were going to Florida. I was excited to go to the beaches as
Yeah.
a kid. So,
Yeah.
but
Did
I
you
was.
drive?
No, we flew.
Oh, you flew.
So I was
All right,
good on the whole airplane,
Yeah.
just playing with my
Right.
Star Wars characters. It was so much fun. I really like Darth Maul, and I like his. I wish he would have had more story within the film. So if you ever watch the Clone Wars, if you dive into the full Star Wars realm, super good series, and he actually comes back for that. So I'm at least happy he didn't completely just one off of this film.
Yeah, but they should have. There's people like me that I'm a film guy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I enjoy.
Right.
I want to sit down, fall asleep for a little bit, come back to. I mean, no, but where you can kind of get the story from the beginning to the end, and you're done.
In a nice tight package.
Right. Or in a trilogy here and there is great or whatever. But
Yeah.
that's what I really enjoy personally.
Yeah.
And so to have all this canon involved in all these other things, I don't know. It just is, that's rough for me.
Yeah, I know I didn't watch the Clone Wars until the last 2 years because it was an animated show.
Yeah.
So that really, I don't have issues with the animated TV shows. I like Avatar and stuff like that. The Airbender, not the Blue Aliens.
Oh yeah, I love anime.
Right. Yeah.
Animation of all kinds. I love.
Right.
It. Yeah. I don't want to
but
say.
it
that.
threw me off for Star Wars for a little bit. But
Sure.
it does help understand the canon. But it's unfortunate because a lot of people just watch the films.
Yeah. So that does make it rough. I think it's very interesting in this one that I noticed it more so than ever.
Yeah.
Was the languages.
Yeah.
Not like foul language.
Right.
But I'm saying like the languages. How is it that 90% of them speak English all over the place?
Maybe the movies is interpreting it for English.
But
they could be speaking.
That's when I noticed it, because then there were other languages that they would subtitle.
Right.
And that back then I realized it. I'm like, wait a minute, this is kind of a weird thing.
Well, you think of it as a galactic empire, and it's kind of like English, where English is not necessarily the main language of a lot of countries, but a lot of people speak it for business and to conduct business. And so it somewhat made sense for me in that sense, where a lot of these people are within the galactic rule that are a part of the Republic, so they try to have one language rule supreme so people can understand each other, but they still do have protocol droids, and then these outer worlds where they aren't as fluent, and so then that's where you got subtitles and other things like that.
Have a little vision.
Yeah, but then the Jedi can understand a lot of the language, but they can't speak
because
it.
they're
Like
one with the Force.
And so that's sort of that storyline that was the little disconnect, I think, for me. And it's like it was more noticeable for me personally in the Phantom Menace. And so I don't know, but what did you think of the actor chemistry?
I liked Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. I thought they had a great mentor-mentee relationship.
Yeah.
I think there was a few other things that I liked about it. I did not like Annie and Padme. Why didn't they just make Anakin a little bit older or Padme a little bit younger?
That was awkward.
Yeah. Because we know exactly what's coming out of this relationship.
Exactly.
And in the film, they played off of like a childish, like, oh, just a cutesy thing. But like it develops into a relationship.
Yeah. And so isn't it like a 10-year difference?
It has to be.
I think
it has to be pretty dang close to that.
Yeah, I think that's sort of some things are said that at least leads you to believe.
Yeah.
And then, so then the next film is a 10-year difference.
Yeah.
Why are you getting so upset? This is not about you.
So
I saw a post of
so now he's 20 and she's 30.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But.
I saw a meme recently that had like, why did Padme go after Anakin when Obi-Wan was single? Because that would have made more sense, except for the whole Jedi Order thing where that technically isn't allowed. But
yeah. Well, that obviously with Anakin.
Well, he never became a full Jedi.
Well, all right.
So there's that.
But
I liked.
Yeah. So I understand what you're saying.
If that wasn't there, I thought the relationship was good. like, I thought it was an interesting relationship that was like, oh, she has sympathy for the slave boy and to take him in and start the training. Like, that would have been a more interesting relationship rather than knowing that they're going to have a full-blown, they're getting married and having kids.
Yeah.
Did not like Jar Jar at all. I almost started halfway through the film. I wished I would have started a counter for how many times he said, how rude.
Right.
It was obnoxious.
Yeah, it is. It's totally obnoxious. They put it in there, though, for kids.
Oh, absolutely.
And so that was that bridge. It annoyed the heck out of me, to be honest with you. And I'm like, this is weird. So then I would start, back then in 99, I started looking into the different special features and all the things they did, right?
Yeah.
And so what had happened is, you know, the way they filmed it, that was really interesting for me. So I was like, all right, I'll give him a little bit more grace.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they had an actor with like a dummy head attached to his shoulders or something.
It wasn't all CGI at that point.
No, right.
So they actually had to work within all of those prosthetics.
Yeah, and so it was kind of interesting. And so they added the reel with CGI. And so it was kind of that part of it's really cool.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it was annoying.
Yeah, I agree. I like how they're doing a lot of the behind the story stuff with Star Wars now, rather than they're releasing films, but they're also showing the production side of it, which I think for these films are super cool because tell me more. A lot of times, especially when the first movies came out, Lucas Films and Lucas Arts were a top tier. Like, they were doing things that nobody else were doing.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see all the behind the scenes stuff if you want to go into it. And I also like how C-3PO doesn't have all his armor in this one.
Right. And did you ever see what they did? So what was the actor's name? I don't remember now. But he was in a suit that controlled the suit.
Right. And then he had to walk.
Right. That's how he did it.
So weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool. So
same with R2-D2 back in the day.
Right. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
But when it comes to going back to the relationships and character relationship, I there was a lot of things that were disconnected. Did not like Jar Jar. Did not like Padme and Anakin. Again, I like the Jedi Order. At least to start, they didn't have a ton of that within it, and they didn't have a ton with Emperor, or not Emperor. He wasn't even a Senate leader at that time, but Palpatine.
Right.
Which, oh gosh, what was his name? It was Chancellor. Was he Palpatine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chancellor.
And I like Darth Maul.
Yeah, I did too. Very obvious, though, who the Sith Lord was.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, that was like 5 seconds into the whole first act or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, easy.
Yeah.
I think we just started some trouble.
No, there's no trouble.
It was interesting because the originals had nothing to do with politics. Or not a ton. You start with the fourth film where it talks about the Republic has been disbanded.
Right.
But other than that, it's just getting the Death Star
built. Like the mechanics of the...
Right.
Yeah.
And so it was, and then going to the prequels, they definitely go way more in depth with that, which is interesting because I was a poli-sci minor, not saying that I like politics at all, but the foundations of how people think government should be run and how they are in practice is fascinating to me, especially when it's a sci-fi when I don't actually have to deal with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're completely different.
Yeah, totally. What's your score then? And
I gave it a 3.7.
Okay. So the thing that, you know, Qui-Gon was great. I think that there was Liam Neeson is such a great actor.
He accepted the role without even reading the lines. Which I thought was interesting. Like, I mean, obviously Star Wars had big hype even back in 1999, but
I think he knew that obviously it wouldn't hurt his career.
Yeah.
And
I wonder if he knew he was going to get killed off right away.
I know that's one thing too. I was like, why would he sign up to be killed so soon?
Yeah.
But and yeah, you know, Ewan McGregor, I thought he did this role. It was very different for him, but I thought he did the role very well. So
he made lightsaber noises whenever he had battles and stuff where they'd zoo zoo zoo. And they edited it out, which I thought was really funny.
That is funny.
Yeah. Because that's if I were ever to play, like, I have no skill set to be an actor, but if I were to ever do that, I would absolutely make lightsaber noises I mean, I play video games. I make the pew pew noises when I start shooting guns.
Right. So they both of them seasoned actors, very good. Natalie Portman, I thought the dialogue that she had written for her was kind of rough.
Yeah, well,
a lot of things,
a lot of monotone.
Acting, yeah. But the acting itself was good.
Yeah, and she was still in high school.
Yeah, and so I thought that was really cool. But when they threw Anakin in there, and some of that was just super cheesy. I think there's a guy I know that uses campy. Yeah,
I go camping all the time. But this movie also is campy in all the wrong terms.
Yes. So I think that back then I had less appreciation for it than now for the acting, to be honest.
Right.
I mean, I know how important it was to the story. They certainly could have compacted it by 2 hours.
Or changed things. Like, just had a different story. I think that would have been a huge difference, too. I remember the pod racing scene was incredibly long.
Oh, yeah,
I was
exactly.
like, why the heck? I love pod racing.
Forward.
Yeah, that's right.
But So anyway, I gave it a 3.9.
Okay.
And that's, I wanted to get it up into 4s just because of they did revolutionary things. Like you said, they did things that nobody else did.
Right.
And so I think that's really cool, but the acting itself, no.
Yeah. I pushed a lot of that into the costume design. Because I think that was, again, like going with actor chemistry, like if they wouldn't have had Anakin or Jar Jar, or if Anakin would have been older, or if they would have redone his character in relation to Padme, it could have been better. And if they would have taken out Jar Jar Binks, it would have easily made into the Force.
Right, and because the canon itself with Episode 4 is what they would call it, A New Hope, the first one that was released in 1977.
Yeah,
Luke Skywalker was how old when he was being trained? I mean, and then they over and over again, he's too young. Anakin's too young. He's too young.
The hard part is that it was within the Jedi Order that he was too young.
No, right. I understand and I get that, but then make it really obvious that he's
too old.
He wasn't young enough.
If you watch The Mandalorian, if you ever watch the whole way through, like
I've seen the whole thing.
Okay, Baby Yoda, becomes less Force sensitive.
Yeah,
because he's been away from it so long.
Right.
So they could have easily done something like that.
Yeah, but it's not actually Yoda, but that's okay.
Well, I know. The producer hasn't fully seen it through, so I didn't want to give too many spoilers.
Yeah. No, so it's some of those things are just like right. I don't know. I think they spent too much time on making things like super spectacular and no one else could do them and things like that. Then some of the storyline and but that's where cinematography. How did it look? What do you think?
I thought overall it looked really good. It had the stereotypical Star Wars transitions with like the clock wheel and then the slow fade across, which I always think is like, I don't see that in very many other films. But it's cool seeing in Star Wars just because it is more iconic within this franchise to see those transitions happen.
Yeah.
I really like the fight scene within Darth Maul and Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi of, the red shields and the town, or not the town, the city of Naboo looked really good. The only thing that I think this is more because of age than anything else is the battle. I think it was the war scene of when all of the Gungans were facing the droids on that field.
Yeah.
I was like, this definitely has some question. That's right.
I know.
Like they're just on like the Windows 97 like green background.
Excuse me.
It was like that, and they just had the battle on top of that screensaver.
Yeah, totally. That's a good point. That's funny. One of the things, I thought everything was really good, and I was kind of wondering back at the time, like in the day.
Yeah.
So one of the advisors to the Queen, the real old guy.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name now.
I can't either.
I think I swallowed a ladybug or something, but I breathed in and something like Real life, folks.
Yeah, it's not like Red Bull. You don't get wings when you
right. So that stood out to me. I remember back then. Now I can talk about it now in more detail because I understand why it's stuck out. They added him in later. There was a different actor that was doing that.
Interesting.
And they, or excuse me, I believe it was he couldn't do it in the filming schedule, and they really wanted him to do it.
Right.
So he came in as the actor later after they had filmed all of that stuff. So if you really look at it, you can see he's like brighter and a few different things around his. Yeah,
that's incredibly impressive.
It is impressive, but it kind of
especially
stands
in 1999.
Out. Yes, but
right.
You can kind of see it. It kind of looked, especially on a big screen. I remember in the theater. And it was like, what's going on? That looks kind of weird. It's like
copy, paste them in.
Yeah. You know, I didn't understand. And so later when it came out and was released and all the special features and stuff, and so I started reading also. And so there it is. And I'm like, that's right. Oh, that's kind of
makes complete sense.
Yeah,
and it makes you appreciate more, but still, unfortunately, when you're watching the film without that context,
it throws it off a little bit. It's not real bad, but it's there. So what do you give it for a score?
I gave it a 4.5.
Wow.
I don't know. Even so, when I'm just looking at a cinematography of how things look and how things were shot, I think it looked, the city's Coruscant looked really nice. I really liked when they did the planet shot and you have like the red rings, and then you go in the city, you can see like all the lanes and stuff too. Naboo, you have the Gungan city and you have Naboo the city, look completely different for the different races that live within it. And then even Tatooine, where it's this wasteland where you got a bunch of like sand castles, I don't, or mesas or whatever you want to call the actual houses. Like they all looked very unique, and you know exactly which planet you were on, and the people look different too. So I just like how all that tied together.
Yeah.
And I think it really made the places seem real.
No, that is true. It did feel real.
Yeah.
You know, that could be a place.
Right.
Yeah. No, I get that. But I gave it a 4.1.
Okay.
Because of some of those things that just looked a little bit off. There's some scenes that were like this one I thought was a little bit too dark.
Yeah.
A few things. I mean, I get what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
But I felt like it, you know, I mean, they could have had an outside light of some kind and be a little bit more and understood better what was going on.
Yeah.
And then some of the real, like the pod race, some of it looked too bright, you know, a little, and it needed to, and I get it.
Right.
But it just seemed a little bit too, like, I don't know, saturated.
Yeah. The other scene that I liked was at the beginning when Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan were going to the Trade Republic, the space station. I forget what it has a very specific name. And then they're getting gassed out. And then the droids, they have to be dead by now. And then they open the doors and all you see is the lightsabers pop up.
Yeah.
Like that is always just, lightsabers in themselves are just the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, they sure are. No,
or lightsabers as they're called. I don't even think they're called lightsabers at all in this. I think they were called Jedi swords. There's no mention of lightsabers in this.
No, I don't
movie.
think so. Right.
Yeah,
I think you're right. That's a good point.
And I think
they're wrong.
Don't quote me on this, but I think this is the only film that doesn't have either like stormtroopers or clone troopers, because the clones weren't around yet.
Right. No, true.
And I don't think they go previous to,
because the Jedi were the peacemakers. They talk, you know, the keepers of the peace, I should say.
Yeah.
They talk about that, but yeah,
and
you're right.
The clone army was only created in the second one in preparation for the Clone Wars.
Yeah,
which I didn't think about that even now, just until like in preparation. I was like, I think this is the only one that doesn't have stormtroopers.
Yeah,
which I thought was interesting.
Yeah,
you get a bunch of these wonky droids, which Roger.
I know, Roger. What's next? What do you want to talk about?
You want to talk about the clothes?
Let's do it.
You know how many red dresses there were?
No.
Well,
I don't count it.
I know you don't. I counted.
I just notice.
I counted two. There was one, the Padme's apparel, which is the very one that pops, or not, Queen Amidala is technically who it is, because then you got Padme, who is in this like orange-red garb that I also counted.
Yeah,
so those were the
that
two
would count,
that I counted for the red dresses. But I really liked Amidala's outfit. It really stood out. I wish there would have been more characters in Authority that had a similar apparel, but it makes sense that she was the queen, that she was the only one that had the makeup, the full red garb.
Right, and it seems like to me it was like times of old. That was like a sign. They would like get all the queens and kings and all that. It's weird to me, but
no wigs.
They would get all They would just totally look different. Yeah, I mean, it was just a huge statement. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, and I really liked even the red orange dress, whatever. I really liked how those stood out because you'd see the girls as an assistant to Amidala. Jar Jar Binks, again, I would consider that into costume design of how he looks as a whole with the big ears, like very unique characters, and then the Gungans in general.
The Gungans, that was interesting because, some of them did look quite a bit different.
Yeah, some look like tadpoles, some look like full frogs.
Yeah.
I don't understand where the development to one to the other came in.
It seemed interesting, yeah. And like you say, the development, I mean, are they making you think that way?
Yeah. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. What doesn't matter.
That's right.
So sorry, what else?
The other people I liked were again, there's so many unique characters in Star Wars. And so like even the Tread Federation, the people that led that, very unique design. I mean, sometimes they looked like little puppets with how their mouth moved, but like I liked again how they looked.
Yeah. Did you notice like there's some of these scenes that we have right now? It was kind of interesting. I thought, they had Anakin almost all they needed to do is put a little coat over him when he kind of had the little Jedi Padawan learner thing going.
But it made sense to me because Jedis, I feel like in general, don't want to stand out, and so they.
Yeah, but I mean, like Anakin, that's the way he was dressed anyway.
Right. Yeah.
Like, and poor slave,
Yeah, they all had basically a very basic top, and then.
But they thought about that.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's like they're getting you into thinking this right away.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I still think,
clever.
And it was very clever with how that worked because it made sense for a sand desert for them to be wearing clothes like that.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, very cool. I really love that.
Yeah.
What do you give it for a score?
I gave it a 4.6.
Ooh.
Darth Maul, he's another one. He really stood out.
Yes. I loved his makeup.
Yeah, his makeup and then his horns, and then when he only has 3 lines in this whole film.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate, but it also makes sense for him to be more quote unquote menacing.
He's Toad,
He's Toad?
Mm-hmm.
I'm only thinking of like Mario Kart when they have
X-Men.
Oh, really?
The first X-Men.
Man.
Same actor.
Really?
Does Toad as Darth Maul.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. He's a martial arts guy.
Well, I could see that definitely happening.
Yeah. So he was perfect.
Yeah.
That and all the makeup too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not many lines.
Right. Well, X-Men probably came after this, right?
I believe so.
Not too much, but enough.
Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah. So I really liked how the costumes, like all the characters fit into what I perceived, what their old. I didn't really know who Queen Amidala was, but like if you were to just watch the 4 through 6, like some of the characters didn't fully make sense, but like Queen Amidala, like they explained her story and everything else like that. So everything fit to the places they were in.
Yeah. No. I gave it a 4.1.
Okay.
I don't know where to put it, but actually this is a prime example. The details that they have in the way that these were designed, all the flags that represented, they had, the animals that they had, the different creatures, they had their own really good, unique look, I thought.
Yeah.
And that it seemed to go, other than, Jabba, I think he was naked.
Well, that's just his character. He's about to pop up soon.
So yeah, anyway, I did enjoy it, but I don't know. I just and maybe I have that impression of back then it just didn't really sit well with me on a few things, and so I kind of have that negative attitude towards it right now.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's
that's
the emotional feel.
We gonna talk about that?
The emotional.
No,
feel?
we gotta do that at the end.
That's right.
That's definitely one for the end.
Yeah. What do we have? We have. Is it overall? Missing?
Yeah, no. Well, we've got entertainment value.
Oh yeah.
Did you?
Oh, that's what I
So
meant.
we're doing a whole new thing on this. May the 4th be with you, and we don't have our stuff right in front of us, and we're just hanging. That's right. The idea of this conversation, just to hang out anyway. So we thought, well, let's get rid of the table, do more hangouts. So we're trying to do this off of our memory.
That's right, which is not the greatest all the time for me. There's Jabba.
Yep. Look at that.
Completely naked.
Yeah.
And people are cheering
Now
on.
we made you look.
That's right. Oh, and his wife over there, too.
Oh, my gosh. She's naked, too.
Warning. Censor warning.
The producer's over there. She's giggling. But, so we have entertainment value. I know we've got to do that. So, how's the entertainment value?
The two things that I think for you to overall, if you're just a passive viewer, are actor chemistry and overall entertainment. I think are the most important. I think some of the other things can take you out, like cinematography, and maybe if the costume design doesn't flow well. But for me, everything outside of those two, I thought was done well in this film. But going back to overall entertainment, there was just too many things that were awkward.
Yes.
If you were to think about how it worked, and you could just listen to Weird Al Yankovic's The Saga Begins. That's all you need to watch for this movie.
Yes.
And fun fact about him is that he had written most of that song based off of spoilers he heard.
No way.
And so he ended up going to a pre-screen. We had to pay a lot of money to be able to get into that, just to make sure it was accurate. But a lot of what he had was off of spoilers. And when he watched the pre-screen, he only needed to change a few things.
Wow.
Which really makes me... I just love Weird Al Yankovic. I remember going...
He's funny.
Again, if we're going to entertainment value, I remember going as a kid to one of his concerts.
Oh, really?
At the Minnesota State Fair.
Nice.
One of my highlights as a kid. And I remember going into that stadium, and then the last song he did was The Saga Begins, and he had the cloak and everything. He started playing the piano, and it was like, would much rather listen to that song 100 times than watching this whole film through, because there were scenes that were drawn out. Like, again, this pod racing scene is going to last about 15 minutes, which is 10 minutes way too long.
Yeah, for sure.
I wish there would have been more fight scenes within the Jedi, like Darth Maul. Like, they could have built up Darth Maul more, like have him pop in more and out. Again, I understand there was only one apprentice, but it would have been cool if those fight scenes were either a little bit longer, or more intense, or just something like that. Because that's, again, Star Wars, you think lightsabers and everything like that. Again, you have to develop Anakin, because that's really what this saga is about. The Skywalker name, but the film could have been condensed 45 minutes and made into like a Christmas special, and we could have been good. Yeah,
totally. So
I gave it 3.5 is what I ended up giving.
42 minutes or something.
That's right.
And then commercials.
That's right. That's right. You got to come for those commercials so you can go take your potty breaks and your popcorn breaks.
3.5. So, there's a couple things I want to say about entertainment value. Depends upon what's entertaining for me. Sometimes is who you're watching it with.
Right.
And my kids, they thought it was pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
And so that was entertaining for me.
Right. As a kid, I remember.
Yeah. And so you have those fun memories and things. And, they thought Jar Jar was pretty cool too, except for one of the kids, thought from a very young age was like, what is this? This is dumb.
Yeah.
But so that that entertainment value, there's importance to that,
right? Exactly.
Things too. So I'm actually at a 3.9 for that, because of other than there's a few things that aren't super, it's a little disconnected for family friendliness, I would say.
Yeah.
But overall, you can watch it with almost any age.
Except Jabba's wife being.
Well, there's that. But no one would ever know.
That's right.
So that's.
Were you one of the people that? Did you hear there were a bunch of people when the trailer started to release for The Phantom Menace? They would purchase tickets to any movie to watch the trailer, and then they would leave after the trailer was done.
What's your question then?
Were you one of those people?
Oh, one of them. No.
I thought that was crazy that people, like, again, in the modern times where you could just go find it on YouTube or release so many different ways.
I'm always, not always, but for a many years, and these years included, I've wanted to avoid that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to know anything going into it. There's movies that I thought were phenomenal, but all the critics, I finally just watched them. Like we talked about John Wick before.
Yeah.
And that was one of them, like, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But see, people had said certain things about it. And, and then I had watched these scenes and I'm like, yuck. And, but I just really enjoyed it.
Right.
And so I try to stay away from those things so that,
I've been trying to do a better job at that. The only issue is when I watch movies in theaters because then it's a part of the experience where you're just going to see the trailer.
Yeah.
But I even know, like, for the new Doctor Strange movie, like, I haven't watched any of the trailers going into it. I was like, I'm going to enjoy it when it comes out. And
I'm just like this. I close my eyes. La, 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 la. But, overall,
I gave it a 3.9.
Okay.
I think, again, it's too bad Anakin wasn't 10 years older.
If he was 5 years older,
5 years older.
You can see this, like, or 3 or 4 at least. But rebellious teenager type,
exactly.
You're right into that. I think that would have made more sense.
Yeah.
Or you could have gone 10 years, but that might have been a little bit too much. But certainly,
he definitely would have been too old by then.
Yeah. But make it obvious instead of it was like, he's 10 years old. I mean,
especially
it's not,
Padme calls him little Annie.
Like,
I know.
There's this
awkward.
There was so many of those, not so many, but several of those little writing things that I'm like, what?
Do you not know where the story is headed?
Yeah. Did you really think this through?
They're going to kiss in the next film. Like,
it's like,
gosh.
All right. But but overall, I'm at a 4 even.
Okay.
And I just think because all the things they did that made this revolutionary.
Yeah.
The things they did that helped tie some of the story together, even though it was way overboard, that a lot of they didn't need to do, but it tied a lot of the things together. That's good. So that's where I'm at.
I think it's either like the second or third least favorite Star Wars film.
Yeah, this ranks on my top of the least favorite.
Yeah, because the other ones would be potentially Solo. Let us know if you want us to rank our top. I think it's our 11 or 12. Is there 11 films? Is there, because there's Rogue One and Solo. Yeah, I think those are the only 2 independent ones.
So there'd be 11.
Yeah.
Because those, the other.
Now they're just doing TV shows.
Yeah, because they're all TV otherwise.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff out there.
Oh my gosh. And then we got Obi-Wan's story coming out.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Hayden's coming back, which I did not expect. Really? Yeah, Hayden Christensen. So Darth Vader is going to be in it some sort.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. See, again, I'm trying to stay I just want.
Sorry, I just see like
no, that's fine. I just want to go in and be entertained.
That's right. Like, are you not entertained?
Yeah. Wrap us up,
man. It gets better from here.
There is no better way to put it than that, because this is definitely, if you came into Star Wars
because you want to chronologically, so you're watching from 1 to...
You'd be done in about 10 minutes. You'd be like, screw this.
There's a new hope once you start getting to the next trilogy.
A whole new hope. Yeah. May the 4th be with you.
And also with you.
Let's add this thing in here.
Yeah, you know what my favorite thing to talk about is?
I know. How did we do that?
I have no clue. Because immediately it was done when we sat recording was like...
Yeah, we're so excited.
Dun. Crap! How did we miss the score? And then I was like... oh my gosh.
Yeah, so...
Duel of Fates, man.
Yeah, so, I loved the score. Well, the score was very good. Yeah. But I loved the sword, or the lightsaber sword.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. But when they were fighting Darth Maul,
chills!
It was great.
Literal,
yeah,
chills.
Like that's one I could loop.
Yeah. Well, they're not even fighting it. When Darth Maul comes in,
yeah,
and then all of a sudden you hear, bah,
yeah,
and then you start getting like, oh man, we're going places. I'm like, oh my gosh, John Williams, he is a legend, like one of the best composers ever. And again, the transitions, like a lot of the music, again, these films are, I would consider epics. They're telling an epic story through the Skywalker saga. And so the music does an incredible job building. Like I could listen to Star Wars soundtrack all day because it's so good. Like
it is.
Again, I was talking to you at our wedding. Our processional was the end of the 4th Star Wars film, A New Hope, where they're getting awards and like they're getting the ceremony. It was like, oh man, and like we got a lot of comments of like, man, that was a bold choice, but it was so good to hear. And I was like, yeah, that was one thing that I was able to be in charge of because Megan is so much better at planning.
She let you slide that in there.
That's right. Oh man, but yeah, Duel of Fates, Star Wars, like it's iconic.
Yeah,
it's one of the best soundtracks.
Yeah,
you can listen to.
Even back in the 70s when they, I mean, that's, wow.
It amazes me that, I mean, it revolutionized soundtrack. It had to have. Like, I haven't done a ton of, like, I've listened, if you ever are interested with movies about, a documentary about score and soundtracks, there's a legitimate movie called Score, and they interview a lot of different composers, John Williams, and Hans Zimmer and stuff like that. And it's super fascinating how they come up with not only the soundtracks, but a lot of times there's a lot of unique instruments that they use for soundtracks to get particular noises. This is like sound effects, but like musically, which is incredible.
It is, yeah. Yeah, that's so cool. And I think back, George Lucas, that was one of the things back in the 70s when he did A New Hope.
Yeah.
He said that he wanted over the top.
Well, George Lucas is good at getting like John Williams inspired or something because Indiana Jones is another one that has phenomenal soundtrack.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how he does it, but like those songs constantly get stuck in my head.
Yeah.
And it's not one like Jaws where it's just like, it's like horror, but like, man, I get inspired when I listen to the music.
Yeah, totally. What's your score on it?
4.9.
Score. Dude, I thought I was going to beat you. I should just say 5-0 just to beat you.
Well,
it's not perfect though.
No.
So.
Yeah, I think if I were to go to New Hope, I think that would be where I would give it a 5-0 because
I think I would too.
That's the original.
Yeah.
But Duel of Fates by far, like that inclusion negates a lot of somewhat odd transitions where sometimes it does get too loud, which makes sense. But like, man, Duel of Fates is so good.
Yeah, it really is. I was at 4.7.
Okay.
I was thinking I thought we'd maybe tie, but
I don't know. I love this music.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
It's on my Apple playlist.
Of course
like,
it is.
Music that it's like paired together with like modern, like chasing cars and like song, like music that's actually songs, not just like soundtrack, which is sometimes odd, but like I don't ever skip it because then whatever I'm driving or whenever I'm listening to, I'm like, it's about to get amped up.
You're driving?
Well, I'm like, I get inspired. They're like,
all right.
Beetle, 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 beetle.
That's a good place.
Okay, so I'll see you later, huh? I'll give you a call.
So it's done.
It's done.